Okay. Right. Today I'm going to discuss the lecture 7, fundamental programming lecture 7. So we are going to talk about the functions, C functions. In the last lecture that we had, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, so we talked about loops, right? So we talked about while loops, do while loops, and for loops, and then even in for loops, there are like nested loops, so a loop inside another loop, right? So I have given some practical exercises. I hope you have done that, but sometime, maybe this week's practical session. So I'm planning to do some of the exercises that I have given, right? And then regarding the exercise, the assignment 5, right? So don't worry if you haven't got a chance to submit it, because I'm going to give you the opportunity to submit it again, right? So I'll open that link again that you can submit the assignment. Then the next assignment would be uploaded this week, right? Next, so after doing this lecture, so based on the things we discussed today, so I'm going to give you the next exercise. Okay, right. So let's move to the functions. Right. So C functions. So in some other programming languages, so we used different names like methods, functions, methods. So different words are used. So however, the idea or the concept is the same. Okay, so let's see what is a function, right? So if we take so an example, when we are building a house, right? So we need different experts in different areas, right? So we need carpenters, right? So we need designers, we need electricians, we need plumbers, like different expertise is necessary, right? So when so if I have an idea to build house, so first I have the idea, then I need a designer or an architect to design the house and create the plan of the house. Then the first, so if I have that requirement, so then I check for an architect, right, for a designer, and then I call him, right? I call him and I tell him what I need. Then the architect would take inputs from me, and then he will give me the design, right? It's very simple. So when it is necessary, I call him, and then he takes my inputs to achieve what I have asked him to do. So then taking input from me, and he do the work, and he provide me something, right? So usually I call so this one, let me share the can you see the whiteboard here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Right. So right. Okay. Okay. So I first I call. Okay, so let me first I call the architect, right? So then he takes my inputs to do what I have asked to do, right? Then do the work, and then provide the design or the plan. It is the output, right? So this is actually yeah, so this is for the architect, right? So when I take, so can you see the slides now? Or still the whiteboard? Okay. Right. Okay. So similarly, that's for the design, right? Then, okay. So based on the plan, I need to, so then I get the approval from the municipal or the Pradesh Sabha, whatever the organization. So then the next thing, I need to build the house, right? So then I have to find a carpenter or a contractor, whatever the person who's responsible for the building. And then I tell him, I give my input, right? So I tell him, okay, this is what I need. And then I would give some other inputs, like not just simple ones, like I'll give inputs. And then, so based on my inputs, he will build the house, right? Build the foundation and the walls and everything would be constructed, right? So then when it comes to the roof, right? So then he says like, okay, so now we need to build the roof. So then I call someone who's expert in building the roof. වහලා හදන මනුස්සයාට මම කෝල් කරනවා. ඒක කෝල් කරාට පස්සේ එයාට මම ඕන දේවල් ටික දෙනවා. ඉන්පුට්ස් ටික. ඒ කියන්නේ මගෙන් එන්න ඕනේ ඉන්පුට්ස් ටික එයාට දෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ මට වහලේ ඕනේ මෙන්න මේ වහලට මේ සීට් වහන්න ඕනේ. මේ මොකද්ද මේ මෙන්න මේ විදිහට මේක තියෙන්න ඕනේ. මේ ලී මෙන්න මේවා ඕනේ. So I give my inputs, my preference, and then the things like physically the things that necessary, and then maybe the money, right? My inputs. So then based on my inputs, he will build the roof. So likewise, so as you can understand, so different experts are called when it is necessary, right? When architect is necessary, we call the architect, right? When carpenters are necessary, I call them, right? So when it comes to the electricians, so then I call them. Likewise, so different people are necessary in different places. For that purpose, like our society, as a society, or so based on our education system, so we have trained people to do such things, right? As a society, as a country, right, like government and other policies, so have like ensured that these expertise, so these experts are trained and kept when it is necessary, right? මේ වගේ මේ කට්ටියව වෙනම අපි ට්‍රේන් කරලා හදලා, ඒ කියන්නේ අපි දැන් මේ ආකිටෙක්ට්ස්ලා හදනවා, ඊට පස්සේ හොඳ කාපෙන්ටර්ස්ලා හදනවා, එතකොට ඉලෙක්ට්‍රිෂියන්ස්ලා ඒ විදිහට ඒ එක්ස්පර්ට්ස්ලා හදනවා, හදලා ඒ කට්ටියව ට්‍රේන් කරලා තියෙනවා. We kept them when it is necessary, right? So likewise, right? So imagine our creating our program is like building a house, right? So when in our program, so we have some subtask, right? So when building a house, building a house is the main task. So main task is building the house. So then in that we have subtask, right? Like design the walls, and then the floor, and then the roof. And so we have different subtasks. To do those subtasks, we have different experts created and kept. So when they are necessary, we call them. Only when they are necessary, right? Right? So similarly, our program, right? So our program may have different subtasks, right? As a whole, we will see it as a program, but it has, I mean, almost all programs are having subtasks, right? So what we do here is we create some experts to perform those subtasks, right? Right. So we have it is very slow today. So, use this one. Right. Okay. Okay. So so we have the main task, right? So then here we may have some subtask. We can divide it into subtasks. For each one, so we create an expert, right? Who can achieve that particular task. This one. Right? Expert one. Right? So then for this task, so we have another expert. Right? To achieve that. So when we need to complete this subtask, then only we need this expert. He can do only this one. He cannot achieve something else. For example, this one, he cannot achieve the different task. He is expert in only in this, only in this. Right? So as in building the house, so we create these experts and keep them. When it is necessary, we call them, right? we create and we kept them. We keep them. Let's keep them. And then call when it is necessary. Right? These experts are called actually functions. We call them functions. Okay. So functions break large computing tasks into smaller ones. Generally, function is a group of statements that together perform a specialized task. So specialized task. So we create a function to achieve a specialized task, one specific task, right? So when that task is given, the function should do only that task. So in a building house building example, like so when we give one task for one person, right? Then අපි හිතමු electrician දුන්නා කියලා අපි මේ අපේ wiring කරන්න කියන්නේ. ඒතර එයා wiring කරනවා. ඊට පස්සේ මේ මනුස්සයා wiring කරලා ඊට පස්සේ wiring කරලා මම පොඩ පොළවක් හදන්න ඕනේ. මේ ඊට පස්සේ මේ අපි paint ටිකකුත් එහෙමනම් ගාමු කියලා ඒවත් කරන්න යනවා. එහෙම හරියන්නේ නැහැ. එයාට specialized වැඩක් දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒක කරලා වැඩේ බාර දෙන්න. ඒ විදිහට තමයි අපි හදලා තියෙන්නේ functions. හරි. So every C program has at least one function, which is known as main function. Right. So we already know functions, right? Main function. It is a main. Any program, any C program has a function, at least one function. It is main function. Right. So then most of the programs define additional functions. Main function එක කොහොමද තියෙන්නේ? It is necessary. Main function is necessary. So other than that, we can have some additional functions. Functions can be reused whenever the same task has to be done. So once we create that function can be used in, actually it can be reused in other programs as well, if necessary. Instead of writing the whole program over and over again from the scratch, we can reuse already created functions. So for example, if we need architect, right? Actually, architect have been created from our university system, like government and private university system is producing architects, right? So those architects can be reused, right? Not only for my house. So they can be used for other houses as well, right? You know, මගේ ගෙදරට විතරක් architect කෙනෙක් හදලා තියෙනව නෙවෙයි. ඒ architect හැදුවට දැන් අපි government එකෙන් අපි දැන් හදනවා. එතකොට එයාව මේ එක ගෙදරකට විතරක් නෙවෙයි. ඊට පස්සේ වෙන ගෙදරක් හදන තැනටත් එයාව ගන්න. ඒ විදිහට දැන් ඒ reusable. Functions can be reused whenever the same task has to be done, right? So that's why functions are important. So they are reusable. Also, functions hide details of operations from parts of the program that don't need to know about them, right? So function, they hide details, how the task is performed, right? So we have given a task, how it is performed, it is hidden. So for example, like when I, after I have given the task of creating the plan or the design of the house, I don't care how it is being done, right? So I just give the task, and then how it is done. It is done at daytime or at night, right? At his office or at home, I don't care, right? So then I don't care how. So whether he use computer or he just use like manually created. So I don't care. So those details are hidden from me, right? So even the others, like carpenters, how they are building, right? Like whether they are using their like ratio of using cement and sand. So I don't care, right? I'm not an expert and I don't care. So those are hidden from me. They are experts, so they do that, right? So finally, if I get the house, like walls, strong walls, very neat, strong walls, that's enough for me. I don't care how it is done, right? Those implementation details are hidden from me. කොහොමද ඒක කරන්නේ කියන එක මට අදාළ නැහැ. ඒවා මගෙන් කියන්නේ ෆන්ක්ෂන් වල ගත්තොත් ඒ ෆන්ක්ෂන් වලට අදාළව ඒ ෆන්ක්ෂන් එකේ කොහොමද ඒ වැඩි කරන්නේ කියන එක ඒක hidden. අපිට ඒක අර එළියට පෙන්වන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. හැබැයි ඒකෙන් input ටික දුන්නාම වැඩේ කරලා output එක දෙනවා. So that's what functions does. Functions do, right? Okay. Right. So when we talk about functions, there are three things, right? So we have to do three things to be like to functions to be used, right? Right. So these are the three things: function definition, and then function declaration, and function calling. Right. So up to now, any questions? Any questions up to now? Any questions? Right. Okay. Right. So then functions, there are three things that we have to. So when we are creating functions, there are three things that we have to do. The first thing is function definition. Function definition creates the function. So we write the function body. So then function declaration. Next thing, function declaration. So it is like a registration of the function, right? So for example, like if we buy a vehicle, right? So any vehicle. So after, so we have to register it as well, right? If we have a brand new vehicle, we have to register it. So if we build a house, so we have to register it in the Pradesh Sabha somewhere. Sorry. Function declaration means it is a registration. Or it says the compiler that there is a function which has been created and ready to be used, right? It is very similar to registration. We create something and we register it. So then officially, like the authorities or other parties, they know that it is there. It is there, right? So මොනවා හරි දැන් අලුතෙන් හැදුවොත් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට රෙජිස්ටර් කරන්න එපා. දැන් අලුතෙන් වාහනයක් ගත්තොත් රෙජිස්ටර් කරන්න ඕනේ. අලුතෙන් ගයක් හැදුවොත් ඒක රෙජිස්ටර් කරන්න ඕනේ මේ රජේ. Then so we have to do that in our functions as well, right? Even in our functions, when we create function, so we have to do that. So I will explain why we have to do that later, right? Function එක ලියලා විතරක් බෑ, function එක declare කරන්න ඕනේ. Then so we have the function, we have created the function and we have registered the function, we have declared the function, right? Then but still that function is not used, right? So if we take our example, right? So now suppose we have created an architect. So we have created an architect, right? Like, so we spend money on that architect, like all of us, like so in government universities. So the people as a society, we spend money on the university students, right? So then, so we have created architects, right? And then if architect, so after graduation, so they need to be become so what do you call, like registered architect. So they have to get that chartered architect or something, right? So the architect, so he needs to be chartered architect or chartered, so engineer's case, chartered engineer, right? For software engineers, there's no such thing, but I mean, some software case, software engineers case, we don't have such thing. But some professional qualifications can be taken, but it's not necessary. But for engineers, chartered engineers differ, right? So they have to be registered, like official engineers, right? Or official architects that they can work with, right? So they have to be registered something, right? So we create, we declare, right? That now we have that architect and then he's registered, fine. But still, if he's still not usable, I mean, it's usable, but otherwise we are not, we are if we are not calling him to do something, then he's not usable, right? We are not using him yet. Yeah, so we have created the architect, he's registered, like everyone know, officially he's there, we know that, right? So unless we call him, so we are not using his talent and his expertise. So අපි call කරන්න. ඒ call කරේ නැත්නම් අපි ආව පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ නැහැ. So we are using. If you want to use, you have to call. Right? That's why we need these three things: function definition, function declaration, function calling. Let's see what are these. So I will explain one by one how to do that. How to create the function, how to declare, and then how to call.